guys, my name's MKxJUMP and welcome to another episode of Mastering Idle Heroes. In today's episode we're going to be discussing monsters. Now most of you who are checking out this video are either reconsidering what your monster choices are, you're either checking out this video because you're just a regular fan, or because you've just hit level 70 and you're curious which monster you should pick. Well, guys, let's talk about the different monsters, where they're good, where they're bad, and which ones you should build first, and which ones are really good in endgame. First things first, let's check out the different monsters available in Idle Heroes. The first monster we have is Wolf, whose violent bite ability deals damage to 4 random enemies and bleeds them for a further 3 rounds. Whilst this is happening, 4 of your allies will get 80% extra damage against bleeding targets. As well as this, Wolf offers armor break and precision bonuses for your team. Next we've got Griffin, whose subjuction hit deals damage against 4 random enemies and reduces their armor by 37% and reduces their speed as well. Meanwhile, he increases the attack of 4 of your allies by 25% for 2 rounds. As well as this, Griffin offers holy damage and precision bonuses. Next we have Deer, whose Emerald Nourishing deals damage against 4 random enemies and restores 4 of your heroes by 20% HP and also gives them an armor bonus and 15% extra attack for 2 rounds. As well as this, Deer offers armor and block bonuses. Next we have Fox, whose Soul Shock ability deals damage to 4 random enemies and has a 40% chance to silence them for 2 rounds. As well as this, Fox will restore the energy to 4 random allies by 62 points. Next we've got Dragon, whose Dragon Sigh deals damage to 4 random enemies and has a 36% chance to stun them for 2 rounds. As well, 4 of your allies will receive 75% extra holy damage for 2 rounds. As well as this, Dragon offers bonuses to crit and crit damage. Next we have Snake, whose Toxic Track ability deals damage to 4 random enemies and poisons them for 3 rounds. As well, 4 of your allies will receive 80% extra bonus damage to poison targets. On top of this, Snake offers ability bonuses to skill damage and block. Next we have the Rock Pet, whose Death Stares ability deals damage to 4 enemies and has a 36% chance to petrify them for 2 rounds. As well, the Rock Pet increases 4 of your allies' crit damage by 75% for 2 rounds. As well, Rock Pet offers armor and precision bonuses. Next we have the Ice Pet, who deals damage to 4 random enemies and has a 36% chance to freeze them for 2 rounds. As well, he will give 4 of your allies 120% crit damage against frozen targets for 2 rounds. On top of this, Ice Pet offers bonuses to holy damage and precision. And finally we have Phoenix, whose Blazing Spirit ability will deal damage to 4 targets and burn them for 3 rounds. As well, Phoenix restores a fixed amount of HP to 4 of your allies and gives a different 4 allies 80% bonus damage against burning targets. As well, Phoenix offers bonuses to holy damage and crit damage. So when you're picking a monster for your team, the things you need to consider are the different abilities that these monsters have and how they benefit the target that your team is trying to achieve. For example, in PvE, the 2 main goals are staying alive and dealing as much damage as possible, so you either want a monster that can heal or a monster that can provide massive damage bonuses. Now the best heroes we have available are heroes that deal damage over time and also increase the damage against the opponent that is suffering that particular type of damage over time. If you look at Wolf, Wolf bleeds the target and also increases 4 allies' attack by 80% against bleeding targets. It's similar for Snake, who does the same for poison, and Phoenix, who does the same for burn. Using these 3 heroes in PvE can be a very strong method if you have synergizing heroes that can deal that particular type of damage over time. Snake isn't seeing a lot of play at the moment, and that's because there aren't many good poison dealing heroes in the meta, and also Snake is kind of dropping off because the abilities that Snake offers, like skill damage and block, aren't that fantastic. For example, if you go ahead and look at Wolf, Wolf offers armor break, and armor break is absolutely fantastic in PvE against opponents when you don't have other means of stripping away their armor, such as Sigmund or Cruz. Now, if you're also using a hero like Sigmund, Sigmund offers burn, so you might then want to consider, actually, maybe I should be using Phoenix, because there are really strong PvE burning heroes in the game right now. We have Flamestrike, we've got Sigmund, Dantalion and Valkyrie, just to name a few, that all burn and perform rather well in PvE. So Phoenix offers great synergy there with burning heroes. The other interesting thing that Phoenix has that the rest of these heroes don't is some form of healing. So a lot of people choose to use Phoenix as their PvE hero because burn synergy plus healing is absolutely fantastic. Another thing worth mentioning is that Phoenix is a very, very strong hero in endgame. Not the best, but certainly fantastic and useful on many teams. That means that Phoenix, being a fantastic hero in PvE and great in endgame, means Phoenix is a fantastic hero for newer players to build, because you cannot go wrong. Phoenix is good in PvP and PvE and offers fantastic all-round abilities, crit damage, holy damage, great ways of dealing massive damage to your opponents, and also staying alive thanks to those really nice heals. So if I was going to recommend to you the best monster to start with, I'd definitely say Phoenix if you're not set on any of the other monsters. That doesn't mean that Phoenix is the only good monster to choose from. Now, there are some good monsters that offer CC. There is monsters that stun like Dragon, petrify like the Rock Pet, and silence like the Fox. Now, the most important thing to realise here is that some of these abilities are stronger than others. For example, silence is rather weak, and for that reason Fox is considered one of the worst heroes you can have. Fox gives energy, and at first that seems fantastic, but monsters don't normally go off until round 3, and by that point it really shouldn't matter if you have active skills available or not, because most of the game has played out, especially if we consider PvP. Energy really only comes into play in PvP, so against PvE you really don't need someone like Fox. So actually, if I was going to rate all these monsters in general, just Fox is the worst and you don't want to build it. Next, let's look at the other CC monsters available. I did mention Dragon, and Dragon is one of my personal favourites, and a lot of you will know I've used Dragon for a very long time in the game, and that's because Dragon offers crit and crit damage, and I've always loved building burst-orientated teams. Now recently the meta is beginning to shift against this, especially since Amun-Ra came out, so if you're in an endgame meta, maybe Dragon isn't the best pick. But if you're in a meta where a lot of people don't have heroes that can just completely wall your burst damage like Amun-Ra, it might be worth using someone like Dragon, maybe just for a small while. Dragon is not one of the best picks, but I certainly find it enjoyable for teams that want to deal as much burst damage as possible. Another pet you might want to consider could be the Rock Pet, because Petrify is very strong, and he also improves the crit of your team, but again he falls short by offering only burst support and not giving you important sustainability. Now you'll notice I'm mentioning sustainability, and that's because I want to shift our attention now to the pet that in my opinion is one of the best pets in the game, and arguably the best in endgame, and that's Deer. Deer has the ability to heal your team by a fixed amount depending on their max HP, and that's really strong. It means this will scale at no matter the level of your team. So if E10 just came out tomorrow, for example, that healing will do a fixed percentage amount equal to the max HP of your hero, and it is good. Like, it's so strong. Also, Deer offers block and armor, which keeps your heroes alive, and also Deer has the most HP bonuses of any of the other monsters, and that's important because if you're running heroes like Valkyrie that need HP to scale with their attack, then Deer is instantly one of the better heroes to have. If we look at heroes that have just come out like Gustin, who deals damage to opponents based on the damage he gets, you want to give a hero like that as much HP as you can, and again, that's where Deer shines. And if we look at heroes that do passive damage like Mim, and other heroes that do damage over time and they need to just stay alive to deal as much of that as possible, like someone like Oberon, again, healing will keep that hero alive and let them do what they do best. And therefore, Deer is the best pet at endgame for most teams. Now, when you're picking your first monster, one of the most important things you need to consider is versatility. The reason I recommended Phoenix as the best starting monster is because Phoenix offers abilities that are fantastic in both PvE boss fights and player versus player fights in the arena. So therefore, Phoenix is just a really strong all-round monster. This is important because monsters are really, really hard to build. They use a lot of resources, a lot of gold, and getting monster souls and monster scales is a very, very slow process. So basically you need to kind of commit to one monster for a big portion of the game. However, when you want to start considering a second monster to build, you then can be a little more creative. Monsters like Griffin and the Ice Pet, for example, offer holy damage and precision bonuses, and these can be very useful on teams that want to deal a lot of passive damage very quickly, like cheese teams that run Aiden or Mim and want to kill the opponent before the monster even gets a chance to attack. If you've already picked your monster and you've built it for PvP, such as Deer, and you feel like you need a little more bite in PvE, your second monster could be Wolf, for example, who offers fantastic damage in PvE. If, however, you're on the opposite side of the coin and you built Wolf first, and you feel like you need a little bit more from PvP, okay, yeah, sure, go for Deer. However, if you want to build a very specific PvP team that isn't running a team that relies on sustain so much, you could go for Dragon and try run a burst team. Or if you need a little more CC and you feel like Dragon's stun just isn't good enough, maybe you can go for Petrify and run a Petrify based team using the Rock monster. Or you can run the Ice Pet and try to build an Ice team using underrated heroes like Ice Blink, Corpse Demon, and getting those bonuses that Jara has recently had from her buff and trying to abuse that. This strategy isn't fantastic, and relying on CC is kind of difficult unless you're running obviously a massive team full of Oberons, and then of course CC is dominating at that point. So it really depends on the kind of synergy your team's going for, and I think that's the most important thing we want to mention here, is synergy. In PvP, your monster needs to synergize with your strategy. If, for example, you're running Horus, and Horus loves to block, maybe it's not worth it having a crit monster, because Horus doesn't want to crit. Horus just wants to block and deal lots of damage over time. If, for example, though, you're running a Dark Arthendal who wants to burst as much as possible, maybe keeping her alive with Deer isn't your best strategy. Maybe trying to get as much burst as you can from someone like Dragon, however, is definitely the strategy you want to go down. There's lots of options and lots of choices when it comes to team building, and when you have that second option for building a monster, it can be really interesting and exciting, and you can experiment with some different things. You'll hear a lot of people say that one monster is better than the other, and often that is very true. Sure, Deer is the dominant pet at endgame, and yes, Wolf deals a lot of damage in PvE, and Phoenix is just a fantastic all-round monster, but that doesn't mean they're the only monsters you should build. At the end of the day, a lot of us just play idle heroes to have fun, and if you see a monster and you go, yeah, that monster's cool, and if you don't spend loads of money and you don't want to commit to becoming an ultimate endgame player that, you know, you want to compete with the big spenders, there's no point trying. Just build a monster that you think looks cool and works with your kind of team. For example, I've always had an itching desire to build a team using Ice Pet, which abuses heroes that aren't even that great at the moment, like Ice Blink and Corpse Demon, and takes advantage of Jara's new rework that takes bonuses when opponents are frozen. So, you know, you can do whatever you want. And that's probably going to be the weirdest bit of advice I've ever given you guys, that actually, at the end of the day, there are pets that I will just say, build this monster. It's the best monster. You've got Phoenix as an all-rounder, you've got Deer for the endgame healing, and you've got Wolf for the best PvE damage you can probably get. And that's pretty much it. Like, if you want to get the blanket rules for that, they're the monsters to build. But if you just want to have a bit of fun, like I do, build someone like Dragon, or build the Ice Pet and try build a team around that. Like, I build Dragon. It's not the best choice right now, but I enjoy it and I have fun. So I think, guys, that's going to be the takeaway from this video. Have fun. Build a monster that you like. If you like winning and doing the best, then pick one of the ones I recommended. However, if you look at that monster and think, yeah, that's cool, I want to go for that one, do it. Why not? You'll have fun. So yeah. If you guys have enjoyed this video, don't be afraid to like, subscribe, leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear what monsters you chose and which monsters you regretted building, which monsters you're glad you built, which monsters you enjoy, and what kind of team you like to run with them. Yeah, so put that in the comment down below. If you want to see more of my content, you can find it on the side of the screen here. And if you want to support me on Patreon, you can find links down below. And also, guys, there is a link to my Discord down below. Do not forget we're doing the giveaway, and entry closes tonight. And that is Wednesday at midnight GMT. So, guys, do not miss out. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Have a great week, and happy idling.